Good morning. Wildfires in Los Angeles, snow in Florida, heat that we have not seen for many years, and hurricanes, frequency that has been increasing year on year. I need not highlight the reality of climate change. I'm Shantanu Sharma, and I'm on a mission to reduce industrial carbon emissions. Have you ever met a family displaced by a climate-related event? We saw recently houses of millions of dollars of celebrities destroyed in Los Angeles wildfires. But there are also stories that you may not hear. There are people you may not meet. But the reality that their lives have been destroyed by climate-related events does not change. Climate change is real. It is here. It is now. Even if you look at the economic impact of climate change, $415 billion worth has been destroyed in USA alone over the last 3 years. Sea level rises can cause damage to trillions of worth of assets. Factories and supply chains are already under stress. Price rise is one example. And instability in systems is something that no business owner likes. So let us all agree that climate change is something that we want to focus on and something that needs to be modified. And the key element causing climate change is emissions. Now there are different kinds of emissions, but for simplicity's sake, let us combine everything into carbon emissions. Let's start with definitions. Carbon emissions are the amount of emissions you emit as an individual, as an organization, or as an industry into the air. Decarbonization is the reduction of carbon emissions. Net zero is when you don't have any carbon emissions. Carbon offsets are processes through which you are able to absorb emissions from the air. And carbon neutral is when you have equal number of carbon emissions and equal number of carbon offsets. Lot of definitions. But all these definitions will help you understand how data and technology form the crux of decarbonization, sustainability, and climate action today. Because without data, it's very difficult for us to even think of sustainability in today's time. AI, ML, data, technology are words which are commonly thrown around these days across industries, and sustainability is no different. Reducing emissions thus is simplified and becomes a matter of pure maths if you're able to use data effectively. Let me tell you this with an example. Imagine a factory that produces goods to supply to industries all around the world or India locally. Their CEO or their factory owner in one of the meetings with the buyers is asked about their environmental compliances, what they are doing to reduce their emissions and creating a roadmap. What do you think their immediate response is going to be? A blank stare is my guess, followed by a tentative nod of the head, followed by, I'll get back to you. And then a mad scramble will start to find out somebody who can help them understand what this means, find out a measurement tool, and try to solve the problem. And this is not a hypothetical story. This happens to industries of all sizes. From the largest organizations to the smallest businesses face the same problem. What is sustainability? How do I define it for myself? How do I measure it? And what do I actually do? And sustainability means multiple things for individuals and organizations. For individuals like us, it means, do you carry a bag when you go to buy grocery? Or do you carry your own bottle? Or are you conscious about your waste generation? How well are you able to segregate your waste? Your choices while you are purchasing things. For organizations, similar things, but of course there are some major differences. Energy consumption, water usage, waste management, supplier engagement, a lot of things. But essentially, Sustainability for an organization is a blown-up version of an individual. The same questions need to be asked from both to assess carbon footprint. Let me share some insights with you. Amount of carbon footprint of the world, 24% is caused by industries. Cement, steel, energy production, and logistics forms the top of this pile. And while solving emissions for individuals may seem like a wonderful idea, but solving industrial emissions causes the real impact. And this impact cannot be done unless you understand what causes these emissions. The key question still remains for business owners in how do I define this and how do I solve this. In order to solve the sustainability problem, what then needs to be done is understanding data. And data could be multiple things. Let me again go back to the factory owner who was blank to start out with. What do they need to do? Simplistically speaking, what needs to be done is they need to calculate data for everything that causes carbon emissions. This includes energy, water, waste, suppliers, raw material, finished products, logistics, all of it can be converted into carbon emissions. Now they need to calculate carbon offsets, green cover, trees, waste management, renewables, all of that gets bunched together into carbon offsets. So you have carbon emissions on one side, you have carbon offsets on the other. You subtract one from the other and you have carbon accounting. It can't be that simple, but it is. With the right data sets and the right people to help you out, it is possible, it is real. Methodical, straightforward, mathematical. That is how you are going to solve the climate crisis. And now that you have the data in place, you can now go ahead and figure out processes that are going to help you solve your sustainability problem, right? Because anything that has data attached to it becomes real, becomes tangible. You can now measure it. You can now play around with it. You can effectively modify it according to what needs to be done. Hence, I go back to what I said earlier, a logical approach to decarbonization and not just fear-mongering and trying to say the world is going to end. Because we already have naysayers for that. There are people who will tell you that EVs are not the best solution. There are people who will tell you that this product has 1% plastic. There are people who will tell you that no, solar is not the best solution. All valid points, and all of them correct. But doesn't that apply to everything? All solutions are not perfect, but all solutions are a way forward. That is what we need to understand. And data is already solving problems for companies all around the world. IoT sensors are helping you monitor and create dashboards to create predictive modeling for what you need to do, allocating adequate resources, allowing for lesser wastage. That helps you not just cut down your resource utilization today, but understand what you are going to use 10 years from now and modifying your usage today. All of this has been made possible by technology and data analytics. And I can say this with a lot of confidence that data is the game changer for sustainability and decarbonization. And that is only thanks to processes that are already happening. But one of the most brilliant things that data does, and which is very close to my heart, is something known as carbon accounting. The ability to convert all your resource and all your utilities and all your consumption to carbon emission and carbon footprint. Effectively, a report card for how green you really are. Isn't that fabulous? Anybody can access how green or how sustainable or how environmentally real an industry is. It makes possible for the industries to monitor their own performance, creating models just like financial models to see improvement year on year, month on month, day on day. So what's the problem? Let me share some examples of where carbon accounting is already helping industries make a big difference. AI-powered furnaces have helped steel industry reduce their energy consumption by 15%, leading to not just an environment impact, but a cost impact. Digital twins in the construction sector have helped reduce emissions by 10%, thanks to resource optimization and being able to save more for the future. E-commerce companies like Amazon and Flipkart around the world have been able to reduce their logistics-related emissions by 10% thanks to algorithms for automated route mapping. So what am I trying to say here? I'm very excited because all of this is happening. It is not something which is a theoretical concept or theoretical science. It is already happening around the world. Where do we start? I'm going to go back to the same business owner who started out with a blank stare and who started with a nod of the head. And I'm going to try to understand how we can help this particular gentleman or woman create a more sustainable industry for herself or himself. Once again, straightforward, logical, step by step. So the first thing they need to do are baseline measurements, converting your current resources into effectively finding out where you stand today. These could be water consumption, how much trees you have, what kind of pollution measures you have within your factory. Anything can be converted into a data baseline. Once you have the baseline, the next step is something we call as materiality assessment. A materiality assessment engages all your stakeholders, including your board, your employees, your key management personnel, customers, community, to figure out what are important elements for your sustainability. Once you have the materiality assessment in place, then comes an interesting element of setting goals. You may have heard a lot of goals being set by countries. For example, India has a net zero goal of 2070. USA has a net zero goal of 2035, or used to have. The importance of goal setting is you are able to utilize data and figure out where you can actually reach within a certain time frame. These goals could be yearly goals, could be region-wise goals, could be section-wise goals. These could be ultimate net zero goals. Example of a goal is, for this particular factory owner, I will reduce my overall emissions by 45% by 2030 with 2024 as the base year. Or let me simplify it, I will become a zero waste industry generator by 2028. To have more authenticity, you can align these goals to international frameworks like SBTi, which is a science-based target initiative, or a CDP, which is a climate disclosure project, United Nations, multiple other frameworks. When your goals are in place, you now get to on-ground actions. What do you now need to do? And there are a host of options available to you. Solar installations, wastewater management, airflow circulation monitoring, biodiversity, waste to fuel. There are a lot of solutions which are already there, but where data helps you is helping you understand what to do today and what can you push to tomorrow. What are your priorities for today? So should you put a solar installation today or should you do your route mapping today? These are differences which only data monitoring can help you with. And once you do your on-ground actions, we come to the most important piece of all, monitoring progress. Seeing whether your action actually made a difference or not. Pivoting and making changes if required. A lot of companies and organizations miss this key step, but not our business owner, because they want to understand whether what they did actually made a difference or not. If industries decide to do it, decarbonization, sustainability, and climate action is not just possible, it is well within our grasp. AI, ML, technology can help you monitor and reduce your carbon emissions, not just for individuals, but for organizations and for countries. I wish you never have to meet a family displaced by a climate-related event. And I hope that industries do enough so that you and me don't become part of the displaced people. In the end, it is all a matter of intent. The same intent that can put us on Mars can also help us make this planet better. Thank you.